Well, it's that time of year again, and I've realized that I've hardly touched clay in the last month. So I've been gardening a lot. I hurt my thumb, and so I couldn't do clay. And it's actually a long time since I really did any clay, so I have to get back to that this week. But this is the result of the gardening that I've been doing. It's spring, and things are just starting to come out. The forsythia is just fading, and now the other things that are coming in. And it's getting quite windy. It's still cold. This is the other side of the studio. It's not as much of a garden on this side, but we have a lot of bushes, flowering bushes, that'll be coming out soon. And it is no mow May, so we're not supposed to mow the grass in May. So I have to leave dandelions for the bees. It is, of course, mid to the middle of May, basically 20th of May coming up. The rhubarb is throwing itself up into the air, so pretty soon we'll be having rhubarb pie. This is 4 days of work. This is the vegetable garden, and it took a lot to actually get this in shape. So I've turned the soil everywhere, and I have a rototiller which broke the very first time I turned it on this season, so that's been getting repaired, so I had to hand dig everything. And we've got garlic here, onions down here, and I've got lots of potatoes down there. Asparagus is coming up, but it hasn't been in long enough to pick yet. It takes 3 to 5 years. We have carrots down there as well. The greenhouse is sort of doubling up as a wood house too, but we got lots of nasturtiums waiting to go in pots here, and these are all field greens. These are almost ready to pick. So, and these are little lettuces that I just transplanted today, actually, so they don't look so good at the moment. Then I've got little baby gladioli bulbs. This is their second season. I'm growing them from little tiny corms that grew on the side of the big bulb. And we got some more lettuce here that'll be going in. It'll be at least 6 weeks before I've got anything there. This is a new little bed we're doing for creeping phlox. This will take 3 to 5 years to grow in as well. There's optimism for you. But we did plant that yellow rock climbing plant a couple years back, and that's looking pretty good after 2 years. And this is the other side of that little bed. This bed is now 3 or 4 years old, so it's growing in nicely. No mow May, lots of dandelions. This bed is actually now in its third season, I think. So this one is starting to grow in, but the soil isn't very good just here. So I will be feeding these. But these are all flowering bushes. And then this bed is now at least 3 years old, possibly 4. So this one is growing in, and it will be all flowering bushes. So this is the courtyard of the studio. I haven't done anything with this side here. This all gets to be put in as annuals, and a lot of my greenhouse plants will go in there. But this one I've been working on. So we have basically a Maltese cross delphiniums in the bed at the back, and then just potted plants here. I actually have peas growing at the very back over there. And then I have dahlias and gladioli in the 2 beds with just soil at the moment. They're all planted, just waiting for rain.
Hi, I'm Jackie at Westcote Bell Pottery, and Vaughn and I are about to unload a Cone 04 kiln load, a glaze firing. So let's get started. Okay. Is this far enough?
Okay, so these are just my pieces, so we can blow through these pretty quick. These are those show prizes I did with Norfolk Terriers.
The showpieces.
Okay.
Shall I take out my
so
hand-painted? So these are the hand-painted and stencil mugs. Just hold them up here. Cat and garden motif. These are all done with a layer. This one had yellow slip underneath everything, but it's all under glaze on top. And that's how most of these are done.
What underglazes are you using?
So I've got Amico, Duncan, and Spectrum underglazes.
And do they all actually interchange in the painting well?
Yep, they all mix. I mix them on a palette, you know, one with different size wells. And they're all, it's like mixing up if you were doing gouache or watercolor. Now this one is a bit different because Vaughn sprayed it with white underglaze instead of yellow, which is my usual undercoat. So as you can see, the colors, kind of happy with that. There's a lot of nice contrast there. And I may be sticking with the white undercoat of slip in future.
Yeah, so the ones that have a black rim are the actual ones that we did with the white spraying so we could identify them. And the white was a little faded on the rim, so we just painted the rim black just to kind of end the painting area. But yeah, there's a lot more contrast with those.
I think it gave it a lot of nice contrast. I got started using the yellow. Be careful there. This is a yellow. I think this is a yellow undercoating because I do like the warmth that it gives the colors that go on top. You know, I mean, you have the warmth of the red clay, but the yellow is sort of warm and lighter. So I do still like that. But the white's kind of, I think I'm kind of enjoying that just for the change. Here's another one. Here's another one with the white undercoat under the underglaze. I think, let's see. This is the yellow slip underneath underglazes. And again, I'm using Amico, Duncan, and Spectrum, all interchangeable. I have about, I don't know, 12 basic colors that I use, and then some other colors that I use, but maybe not, you know, as often.
And I think we listed all the main colors in the video you were doing, which we did about a year ago.
Yeah. So
people can refer back to that to see. That one's got a lot of contrast, even though it's the yellow underneath.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the yellow's still a light color. Okay, here's the last mug on this shelf. And was this one? Was that I think that was a yellow underglaze too. A yellow slip underneath. Okay, and then I've got the bottoms here of a few jars that are going to have lids, so I'll probably show them again with the lid. These were all yellow slip with underglazes on top. These jars. That one's the same all around. This one has a chicken lid, I think. And this is the bottom to a cat head jar. That's the tail. And then, oh, there's one
You can
more.
see the glaze recipe for the clear a bit later in this video if people are going to ask that question. I'll post a photograph of my page in the glaze book.
This is like a little garden house. The door and a window. And then the lid is a roof. So that's my things out. And
we just have 2 more of these dog pieces for the show prizes here. There you go. And those are just slips. There's no underglaze. Oh, actually there is underglaze because the black writing is underglaze, the apples and the grass on the bottom is underglaze as well.
Is it on? Okay. So here's the first lid. That's the first lid. And that's what it looks like with the jar on the bottom.
Yeah, the colors are much brighter. The pictures at the end of the video are of the pieces without a glaze on them because it shows the detail without any reflections. But the colors, as you can see, really intensify once you put the glaze on them.
Cat jar. Cat head lid. What do I got next here? Okay. Let's go on this one. So yeah, here's the little garden house jar with the gull on the roof. And let's see, this is the other garden house. And the little bird on the roof, surrounded by trees. And then let's see, I've got another chicken jar in here. Companion piece to the other one. And a few more mugs. It's quite a big batch of mugs. This one has the yellow underglaze underneath. The colors, the underglaze colors. And this one had the white slip sprayed underneath. So the whites really pop, you know, the white, you know, of the sheep and the horse really pop because they're like double white. This is a small tile, this will go in a ceramic, a clay frame I have ready for it.
Oh, that one's really pretty.
This one also, I'll try and get closer in here, because this one I did a lot of drawing into the thicker underglaze while it was still wet to get those textures, you know, the feeling of those straw flowers, and then the vase, you know, sort of putting down a thick layer of color and then pulling the end of my brush through it to get more textures into the flowers. So is there a lot underneath there?
Yeah, just wiggle it.
Just wiggle it. Good-o. And so this is a platter, and this is a slab built and placed in a slump mold. And I used some rolled texture on to kind of expose, you know, keep the edge rounded, and a little bit of texture in contrast to the painted area. And 2 small tiles there that were sitting on either side of the platter on the shelf.
So if you see down the bottom there, I use a lot of stilts underneath the large pieces to actually hold them up and try and balance them so that they don't, each stilt is touching the actual bottom of the piece. And in my glaze firing, it's lower than my bisque firing because I bisqued at 01. So the pot has already shrunk by the time the bisque firing is finished to its full degree. So in the glaze firing, it doesn't shrink anymore. So those stilts, if you put them on and you were firing higher than the bisque firing, those stilts would actually pull up a little bit into the piece, and I've had them literally just be stuck to the piece, but one stilt end is actually raised off the kiln shelf by the shrinking of the piece. So that's the advantage of firing high for bisque firing and then firing low for glaze firing, because nothing is going to shrink anymore.
Okay, and is this the last shelf on?
Nope, one more below.
One more to go. Good grief. Okay. And so this is an oval platter. Again, let's see if I can get the whole thing in here. This is an oval platter, and it's again done with a slab on a slump mold. So I painted yellow slip underneath the whole thing, except for the edge, which I left with the red clay exposed, and then just rolled some texture on it. I wonder if I can get the light on there. And then it's painted with underglazes on top. Okay, last shelf here. These were done by pressing an oval form with onto a slab of clay that's sitting on newspaper and a big thick cushion of foam, and then pressing down to create the form. So so the oval form was this shape, and then when you press down, the rim just automatically lifts up. The cushion lifts it up. Smaller ones with smaller ovals the same way. This particular form was just in this area here. So I cut a slab of clay evenly, and when you press the form down while it's on the cushion, the rim automatically just lifts up. And the last one. Same oval form as the last one. And there we go. That's the kiln load.
Hope you liked it. We don't do these firings very often, remember, so if you saw one that you like, just take a screenshot, send it to us, and we'll send it to you. Alright, thanks very much.
you.